A USA Today survey claims Americans face the next election with a dominant sense of dread. Apparently, if the candidate a voter supports loses, then roughly 40% of those voters wouldn't be confident that the election was actually fair. Meaning the election may be over on that first Tuesday in November, but come that Wednesday, the debate over its legitimacy begins. So whose fault is that? The media, who spent 3 years chasing the flame of Russian collusion, only to turn up with empty, charred hands. You think that didn't mess with America's minds? That's the irony. CNN and MSNBC did way more to undermine our election system than the Russians, simply by exaggerating that narrative in order to unseat the orange monster they despised. Putin must be thinking about the upside of having a free press. Look what it did for him in America. He achieved more through Jeff Zucker and Rachel Maddow than a farm of Russian bots spending $100 grand on Facebook ads ever could. But that story collapsed, yet the obsessed media didn't stop. They're still seeing Russians in their sleep, which has hurt us. The media, out of bitterness over defeat they could not move past, has left us with a country questioning whether any election could be legitimate. And not because the Russians might collude with Trump, but because the media always colludes with the Dems. Emily, can you blame Americans for being skeptic?
No. No, I can't. I actually kind of agree with this. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
First of all, I think most voters view this as a total civil war, and the results are going to be catastrophic if their side loses, which is perpetuated by the media, like you were just talking about. And also, I think there's a measure of fatigue, right? The first Democratic debate was held in June. That's 16 months before the election. I mean, that's literally an elephant's pregnancy. It's just.
Is it really an elephant's pregnancy?
You know, almost.
I'm glad you looked that up. It's an elephant's pregnancy. You know, that's a way to measure a lot of things. So we want a mortgage for the house. What's it going to be? It's going to be 4 elephants' pregnancies.
I was at the zoo earlier.
Or 36 months. I don't know how I... Stop it, Greg. One, when Trump wins the election by a landslide, will we be able to have a congenial show?
Yes, because I'll be gone. You know. I will have buried myself. Do I get a free pass to Canada?
Yes,
Thank you. I think this poll, I think people anticipate it's going to be a very dirty election because Trump needs to dirty up the Democrat.
Ooh. Dirty in that way.
Yes, and the Democrats will be firing at Trump. So it's just a lot of nastiness. But the second thing to say is I think this poll's not good news for Trump. Here's why. People are so highly engaged. People are paying attention right now. People have strong feelings right now.
You agree that Trump has made America smarter.
Well, more political because things are so polarized that people are like, I think you get tired of the fact that people are so upset daily about Trump's behavior, his tweets. They say, oh, stop it. This is what you say.
I say this to my driver every night.
Well, I must be driving you then. Okay. So, but to my mind,
of course you have a driver.
It's Hillary Clinton, Emily. Hillary Clinton accepted the results of the last election. The person who said, I don't know if I'll accept the results.
No.
That was Donald Trump who said that.
You know, Jason, I think, Juan talks about a dirty campaign, but how can you get dirtier than it is already when you say that Trump is worse than Hitler, Mao, Stalin, perhaps insane?
Where do you go from there?
Yeah, where do you go?
Oh, I have an idea.
Yes.
The devil.
The devil.
Oh, my God.
Oh, gee.
The devil, Antichrist. We can put them together.
We usually use that on our side.
Yeah, I know. You guys always
reserve
beat me to the
that.
punch. That's why I'm tired of it. Yeah.
We get all the religious stuff.
I know. You have deep state, too. You guys are you're taking all the weapons.
Deep state, deep dish.
Double deep
Command.
dish.
Wait till you get Space Command up and running. Then
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, you didn't tell me, Jason.
Well,
Jason,
the president just had a press conference.
Jason, do you have any ideas on the poll, or are you going to continue to talk to Juan?
These things are way too long. I mean, it's August. Wait till we got till next August before the campaign actually really starts to ramp up. I do think there is a great disservice. There are a lot of people, particularly on the left, who felt like Bernie Sanders really got taken to the cleaners, that he had the energy, and in 2016, he was taken out of the process. I do think that the Democrats have got a problem right now of disengaging a lot of people the way they're dealing with the debates. Why can't they have 2 nights of debates? Hey, here's our top 8, and then here's the rest of the field. They're self-eliminating a lot of people, and now they got all these candidates going out there saying, hey, this isn't fair. You have, people that like Tulsi Gabbard, who I think have a real message that may not make the threshold. And I think that's disengaging to a lot of people.
Jason's point, there are 3 people. Well, Tulsi's not going to be there. Marianne.
No.
Marianne.
Look, I think that if you are not at 2%, everybody knew what the rules were. And they might disagree with the rules, but one of the reasons why do they have these rules? Bernie Sanders.
Right.
Right? Because he complained that the system was rigged against him, so now it was more open and transparent. And if you aren't polling at 2% in the September, 23 weeks before the first votes in Iowa, you're probably just not going to be president unless something catastrophic happens. And these poll numbers are actually happening before the onslaught of ads. So imagine if you're in an early battleground state like Iowa. They're already seeing ads. So I think that's one of the reasons these numbers get to be like this, because if you had to deal with that all the time, plus you see it in your social media
But when nobody's
feed,
even at 30% to start eliminating
They are.
people unilaterally, I think that's...
Do you think that Tulsi Gabbard could win the Democratic
I think she
nomination
could have a
now
very-
after she's been running for president for 8 months?
She could have been a VP.
Yeah, I think...
She could still be a VP possibility.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Well,
look,
I
in the Republicans, what do we have, like 18 different debates? I mean, we got a lot to look at. But then the Democrats, they just...
But they're also
two.
self-narrowing. They don't even have any money left.
I just don't think the media is going to believe if Trump wins. That's it. I just feel that way.
Well, one last point on this was, with all the Democrats on one stage, we're finally going to see Elizabeth Warren versus Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's
We've
true.
never seen
That's
it.
true.